Hi there, thanks for watching. I'm just revamping a pot here of soil that's sat over winter, and a lot of the clay that was in there, it clumps back together again so quick. It's incredible. I'm removing a lot of the golden nuggets and leaving about a third of what was there, and then I'm going to top the rest up with my new potting mix. Which is a third, which is in the pot here. It's a third peat mix. It's a hydro mix that I use for microgreening. It really. Thank you, Equestrian Groomer. Thanks for tuning in. Appreciate it. This peat mix, potting mix, I mean, is used for microgreens, but peat moss is great for, obviously, I guess it's not obvious to everyone, but it's interesting stuff. It's very unsustainable. Most of it comes from Canada, and it really retains moisture. So I thought I would include some of that in my mix. I did a third of that, and then I did a third of my most recent organic mix, and then a third of what was the other? Refined. I call it like my amended garden bed mix. So the soil that's been out in my beds and that I've been tending to, and adding a little bit of direct ash and coffee grind and some shells on occasion, like snail shells, oyster shells that I get and I crush. I'll just sprinkle them on there. And I've seen, like, I've only been in this house, my girlfriend and I, for about 2 years, and it was like almost all clay when we moved in. As I mentioned in my the first couple episodes of my vlog, I mentioned a lot of this, but I'll repeat in case people watching, in case you guys haven't been following my vlog. Not a problem. It was pretty bad condition soil when we moved in. It was actually a lot of weeds, like the creeping creeping Charlie, I think it's called. So I think it was high pH soil, and I had to dig out all the top layer of weeds. Is a really hard ground, and it's typical for, I guess, older houses trying to start garden beds. But yeah, and within 2 years, it came a long way with all the amendments I've been doing. Well, not crazy amendments. Like, I don't buy any. I try to keep it as natural and affordable as possible. Because if I'm going to be paying an arm and a leg, I could buy organic in the store. So that's kind of my motto, is trying to keep the cost down all the time, and also reducing waste. Right? If we're throwing stuff in the garbage, I know, like, a lot of people, you see the compost bags back there. Those aren't mine, right? I picked those up from neighbors this morning because it was yard waste day. So, a lot of people bring their nutrients to the curb in the green bin or in these bags, but instead I like to, I don't bag anything. I've been bagging some maple leaves that I raked up that have fungus spores, these black dots. But other than that, I like to compost. I like to get from neighbors and whatever we have: banana peels, eggs, shells, and compost, and keep that on the property. Also, we do bonfires or leftover from my charcoal barbecue, and incorporate that into our into our food chain. Just enjoying a nice Cuban here too as I work. So in this pot, I think I'm ready to put some to seed it now. I want to make sure the organics. I'm not no pro gardener, by the way. I'm around 30 years old, and this is about my third year doing as on my own. But growing up, I did a lot with my parents and grandparents, so that helped a lot. I've always had a green thumb. So I have a couple of seeds of this kale left. That 75 days to harvest. Whoa. I know it's a bit late for that, but very easy. That's all right. So I'll probably give this one a go in here. I just have a couple of this kale and this radicchio, we call it in Italian. That I want to plant. They're actually my last two veggies. For a while, I might plant a couple more, a little bit more in like a couple of weeks, just to I guess you could say stagger the harvest dates a little bit. If you follow me with my vlog, I update every day on how my seedlings are doing and what I'm planting and what day. And I'm really curious to hear what zone you guys are in and what you're planning this year, what you've been learning in your garden, what questions you have, what you still want to look into. I like to be as interactive as possible. So if you have anything you want to say, please comment. I don't know if maybe you're watching on TV. I understand. I won't assume that you're able to comment, but you're more than welcome. All right. So this might be good for the radicchio, for one radicchio. Till it gets big enough, and then I can transplant it into my garden. So these containers, my girlfriend and I don't go through a lot of these, like distilled water and these big Kirkland Costco. We don't do Costco, so I also go around and pick that up when I need, as I need from neighbors. At this during this crisis, it's a bit dangerous. You definitely got to make sure you're wearing gloves and then proper procedures, washing your hands and all that. So in this one, I'll do my radicchio. So because seeds aren't super expensive, and I don't know the germination rate, especially these two are from last summer, I will do at least 3 seeds per hole. But I don't just throw them in and leave them there the whole time. I like to drop, like to touch the hole a little, let a little bit of seed fall in, just to space them out. So when I invite you to ask questions or share, I also invite you to correct me if I say anything wrong, if I am misunderstood about something. We're lifelong learners. We're always learning. We're always growing. we have to keep that mentality. I think a lot of the greats will say the same. A lot of the greats will keep that open mentality, open mindset, that open attitude to lifelong learning. I'm not the biggest fan of clear bottles for little pots. These are my favorite for starting seeds because they're big, but not too big. They're perfect size. These are 4-inch, and they're not black or clear. Black will absorb heat, from my understanding, and maybe dry out or burn, seedlings once the sun gets strong. And then clear is pretty much similar, but then you also have like a mold issue with plastic and soil, so wet soil or water, still water. If your container's holding too much water, not enough drainage, and then the sun's beating on it. I haven't had really issues with that. I've had healthy plants, so I'm not gonna say that's the. It's more the the issue with the heat with the sun heating up the soil. Not sure that's the best thing, but mind you, we only really use it. We're only really using it in the spring, so we're not gonna be. I'm not gonna hopefully not have plants here still in the middle of summer and like scorching 30-degree weather. All right, so my veggies are done. I'm just gonna label radicchio. I might make some better labels later, but this is just for now to give me an idea. And I'll also check to make sure that there is enough drainage in all of these. I'll have to do that another day. Okay, so these pots I prepped already for flowers. Let me get rid of this clay. Clay nuggets. And my cigar burnt out. So I just learned that marigold is great for pest deterrent for veggie garden. So like I'm definitely a bigger veggie gardener than a flower gardener. If I owned a house and had my way, I would definitely be doing fruits. Fruits would definitely be up there for me with veggies. But I'm slowly getting into flowers as well, especially when I learned they're beneficial for natural pesticide. I don't occupy my garden space like my veggie beds are. I try to keep organic soil, and all the additives are organic, are like natural from us. And that said, the compost that I make for those beds, we only put organic food byproduct into that compost, which I know is a bit far-fetched, but just for fun. It's just preference. It's because we don't really need I don't really need to. I see results without having to resort to like putting non-organic apple pits and non-organic tomato scraps and not non-organics in the compost. So organic bananas, a lot of organic bananas, a coffee grind, eggshell, probably the top 3 organic additives that I put into my compost. From the kitchen. Ash is definitely up there. And for those who don't know or who haven't been following my vlog, I learned that the science, or at least the gardener consensus, the gardening consensus, is actually fixed. It's actually, there actually is a consensus on ash, unlike some other stuff. And I talk about all these different additives as well in my vlog. I go every now and then. I'll go through one or more. Ash is great for neutralizing the pH of the soil, and has a lot of other beneficial compounds, chemical compounds, and potassium. From my understanding, the actual word potassium came from the word potassium came from ash, not the other way around. If that's true, that's pretty cool. I wonder what other elements in the periodic table came from different items, different byproduct or substances. All right, so jumbo is actually the only of these flowers that says to oh wait, no, it's not jumbo. There's one pack here that says to start in the ground. So I got lupin, aster, zinnia, and the marigold jumbo. One of them says to wait until the end of last frost. And I'll wait till the end of last frost, but I'm also not going to wait till the end of last frost. I'm going to try it out. Try it in pots. You know, there's enough. I've had enough experience with some sources saying, "Oh yeah, wait till last Friday." Oh no, start indoors. Oh yes. Oh no, especially like cucumbers. This year, I was looking into when to do them, and you have some that are like. So again, I'm putting 3 in my hole, and they all dropped at the same time. But like I said, normally I would like to just to drop them in slower, so I could put some soil with them at the same time. But I could still see exactly where they are because they're long. These jumbo marigold, crackerjack. They're long seeds. I should have showed you the seeds, but they're long. They're long, so I saw them and I made sure they weren't touching as I filled the hole. Covered it up now. And up until last year, and I'm not ashamed to say this, but up until last year, I wasn't pressing. I wasn't packing my seeds after planting them. If that's not amateur, I don't know what is. But, you know, it's a great story I'll always be able to tell. That's for sure. All right, so this is from last summer as well, but it was a purchased potting mix, which I only do for flowers. Purchase potting mix because they put all the the heroin and steroid and all the powerful stuff. No, they're pretty balanced soils and very rich. You know, like blood meal, very nutritious, but not something I trust in my veggie garden. If I had no choice, I would trust it. Just like when I buy food at the grocery store that's grown with it. But I don't. I have a choice. I'm taking the time and learning what is best. There's other substitutes. We have a nearby pond with turtles that is so fertile. It's got so much life. This my whole area does. If you see my vlog, you'll know exactly what I mean. These guys say 20 to 30 days to sprout, full sun. This is a lupin Russell mix. Big old Mackenzie. Start early. Perennial zone 3. Huh. Seed depth 1/4 inch. So what I also do with 3 seeds is if I can. So these are bigger seeds. I think I have a lupin growing back from last year actually. I know they're oh, are they perennial? Yeah, they are perennial. Yeah, so I do have one growing back from last year. Maybe it'll actually flower this year. I don't know. Do you guys know anything about that? You never know if you never try. Yeah, exactly. You got it. That's the good attitude right there. So what I like to do is level them. I'll put one seed, a little bit more soil, or or different spots like a triangle, 3 in the hole. Um, I mix it up. I think it would be cool to combine the two ideas, like leveled, different depths, and also space like spaced from each other. Because if they all start sprouting, you're gonna have 3 growing in the exact same spot, and they might rot before they even get out, before they even pop out. So before I forget, I gotta label what I'm doing here. Lupin Russell mix. And that was the marigold. Jumbo. All right. So I feel better. I should be doing probably the same seed, like as many as I want, probably like 3 or 4 of the same variety in a row. But I feel better when I know I have at least one planted of each, and then maybe in a like tomorrow or in a couple days, I'll do the same kind of routine. I talked about in I think it was my last published episode. I'm working on the next 2 episodes. They should be published already, but time is hard to come by during COVID, despite being off work. Believe it or not, the soil is a little bit dry. You can tell when it's very when it's dry, but also when it's very light, that it's dry. So in that case, I'll hydrate it a bit first and make sure the water is really penetrating everywhere. And then I'm gonna add also. There's still a little bit. It looks like a healthy mix, a healthy potting soil. I think it might be a mix of potting soil from last year and either my hydro mix or garden bed soil. But what I'm gonna do is pour a little bit out into my bucket, very little, and put some fresh in there. Should be more than enough for a month of growing, of germinating and sprouting up in here. So what am I doing next? Aster Early Charm. And for earlier blooms, start indoors 6 to 8 weeks before last frost. Large pink, red, white, purple, fully double flowers will add last. I've had all these last year, by the way. I think the only ones that disappointed were the lupin and and no, I did we did get asters, yeah. Very showy for rock gardens, easy to grow in well-drained soil. The bright mix of color makes it excellent for cutting. Pick faded blooms to prolong the flowering season. 3 millimeter depth, 7 to 28 days sprout. Finally, the nicer weather. Holy. Arctic winds. In April, Arctic winds bring May flowers, apparently. I'm glad my my phone internet connection hasn't failed us yet. If it does, thanks so much for watching. I'm sure I'll be doing another one of these soon. Promo videos, as my channel is new, my show is new. So what I do is pour about 3 in the crevice of my glove. I usually use gloves. I don't like having dirt under my fingernails. It's just, I don't know. Like, then you got to scrub it, and then dries out your fingers and all that. So like, we're innovative. We humans have innovated. Why not? So I put 3 in the crack, and then I put the crack, that big crevice right there, right over the hole, and let them fall in. I know there's like seed distributors, and there's also a million other things that we can have for gardening. But then again, we could probably rent an acre and pay minimum wage to a few Mexicans to if we had that kind of money. I would never do that, by the way. For commercial purposes, might be necessary, but Aster Early Charm. Did I water it? Not yet. Can't forget to water. It's just as crucial as pressing down. One more down. So I use all different kinds of pots. I would prefer to have the same kind, but beggars can't be choosers. This is a cool kind of concept. I cut the top end and then invert it. That worked pretty good for me last year. My favorite is this. And then after that, these guys, because blue or green, sun won't penetrate as much, won't be as hot. You just want to make sure, if you're doing this, that there's some holes on the sides for like if it's pretty sealed here where they meet. You have to check it out and see. You got to make sure always there's airflow, otherwise You might water in there too long, your soil will rot, or you'll get mold in your cup. See, I keep this on to help a little, the wrapper. What I did this year with my veggies is my veggies. I used these. I was consistent this at least with my veggies. I was consistent. I used these for the seeds, and then I cut bottoms of bottles. We drink a lot of the Naya water bottles from Dollarama. And so I have them in. You'll see in my episodes and my vlogs. That's what they look like, the indoor ones. Not like obviously the ones I planted in the garden are in the soil, but I'm gonna tell you the connection here. It's a really cool system. You need a bottle for two veggie plants that I planted, one indoor and the same outdoor, to see which one does better. Cut these in half. Put my seeds in there. I have them like that inside, so it's like a saucer. And then the lid I'm going to use outside for the seedlings. Once they come up, I'll cover with the lid, and I can poke more holes. You just have to be careful. The greenhouse effect doesn't, or the stuff, like there's enough ventilation. It's getting enough water, and it's not getting too hot yet. To be really careful with that. So, but it's mainly for frost until the end of May. Cover at night, but also we have a lot of squirrels that love digging around here. So, all right. So that might help deter. Why fiddle with plastic when you can go just fiddle with dirt? Sometimes I use rose thorns too, that I talk a lot about in my. And I saw signs that it was a squirrel that completely just went through rose thorns. I trimmed a rose bush. I included that in. Actually, no, I didn't publish that episode yet. That'll be one of the current ones I'm working on. But I pruned it recently. So here we got aster powder puffs. The other one was early charm. So this is just a different variety of aster. For earlier bloom, start indoors 6 to 8 weeks before last frost. I'm not going to read you the whole description, but seed depth 3 millimeter, 7 to 28 days to sprout. Let's see what these look. If they look the same, probably do. Yeah, very similar. That's why I'm not showing you, because they're so tiny, these seeds. You guys might know what they're. I just gotta assume you don't know, and you want to know. Let me know what you prefer. If you want me to read you something on the packages or whatever. So yeah, I pruned those flowers. Hopefully it comes out good. It's the first time I pruned a flower plant. I looked it up, researched into it. Hopefully they do well. I always used thorn cuttings, natural thorn, as like rodent deterrent. We have bunnies, squirrels, chipmunks. We had rats at 1 year. It was an issue. So it's mostly the squirrels digging for seeds and stuff. What happened to the squirrel? No blood. Although I would have been happy, would have been good fertilizer for the. um, I'm assuming it could have been like there's no. I can't see it being birds. We've had a lot of but we got a lot of birds around. So I'm surprised. My thorn like rose clippings always worked great for me as a deterrent. Luckily, I just planted the peas, and I don't think whatever dug over there got to them. It was pretty off target, and I had just planted, so I wouldn't have lost a lot of time. All right. Yeah, I'll probably twist one of these into the ground, the lid, once they sprout, if they do, and leave one of these with lots of ventilation, especially the hardier ones like salad, beans, peas. Okay, zinnia. My first zinnia, yeah. So my last two are going to be annual zinnia, Pumila mixture, and California double giant. These might be the direct sow after last frost. So we'll start with the Pumila. Earlier blooms start indoors 4 to 6 weeks before last frost. Mm-hmm. 6 millimeter seed depth. Six millimeter. That's like dropping a seed and I don't know, blowing some dust on it. Not much. But when I'm not planting in the ground, I put a little bit more soil. It seems seeds like to come up a little bit in containers. So let's label that zinnia pumila mixture. So you can see what I'm doing. Okay. We have another one I don't know. I'm not really a big fan of these. I don't mind having a couple of them, but if I have bigger bottles, I'd rather use that. I have more too in a bag somewhere, but I'll just cut this one up. I have some already pre-prepped from last year, and my girlfriend and I washed them at the end of spring to reuse. La 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 la. Zinnia, California Double Giant. Okay, for earlier blooms, start indoor 4 to 6 weeks before last frost. 6 millimeter seed depth again. 5 to 7 days to sprout. This is a new. I bought 2 packs of it last year. They did great in my garden, anyway. Thanks again for watching, guys. If you're able to comment and you have any questions or something to add, please do. Hopefully this video will save on my channel for to come back to for all of us. Memories for me. And if there's something that you liked and you forget, and please check out my new vlog. I'll have another episode coming out tomorrow, what day are we? I forgot what day we are. Tomorrow or the next day. I think we're Wednesday or Thursday. Jeez, days are going by too fast. That's when you know someone's really caught up in their gardening. So busy. And their time just flies. But please check out my my vlog, see what you think, and let me know what you want to see more of. Put 3. And if you subscribe, you will get instant notifications. You should. Or if you have to check that off to set your channel, you might have to check it off to get instant notification. But if it's not instant, you'll still see it come up in your feed next time you sign into YouTube. So if you go on frequently, you'll pretty much see it. You'll see my new episodes as they're posted or shortly thereafter. Pack, water, and label. Can't forget those three important ingredients. All right, so for today, the water that I dropped in there will be enough. A lot of the soil was dry. It wasn't didn't have a lot of. It wasn't very saturated, so the little bit of water that I put for today will be fine. Tomorrow I'll make sure. Some do have holes. Tomorrow I'll have to make sure they all have holes, and in these cases, airflow. I do prefer to have just one flat under all my pots, just so I could gauge. Excuse me. I can gauge uh, how much excess water is at the bottom. If there's any reserve, if it's too dry, it's quicker instead of having to like lift and check the bottom, or if it's not transparent, you have to look inside each and every single one, and that could be very time consuming if you have a lot of little containers. So ideally, flats preferred. I have a lot of these, as you'll see in my vlogs. They're like $3. Good investment. You just have to be careful with the corners. The standard ones you get at Lowe's and stuff. they're very thin, so the corners they'll crack or wear down, and and you'll have a leak. So if your goal is to keep a little bit the bottom of the containers a little bit moist, especially while you're germinating in your garage or in your house, you have to be careful with that. I've learned that lesson. But yeah, I like to definitely prefer that. So these cases I'll have to check them individually, and it's pretty much it. So I'll keep these in the dark in the garage, away from the frost, until they come up, and then when they come up, I'll be showing in one of my my upcoming episodes, how I'm going to fix up my I have these little raised greenhouses that I made from pallets, and how do you say, like scrap, uh, recycled, uh, thick ply plastic tarp, the clear transparent tarp that I got in an industrial area near our house here. Um, so I'll show how I'm going to fix that. I'm thinking of heating it with compost at the bottom on the ground, so that when I water, the water will go into the compost to keep that moist as it should be. I just don't know if it'll be enough sun. But if it's closed into the greenhouse, it should be hot enough for the compost to work and generate more heat, to heat the greenhouse overnight until the end of May. But lots to come. Lots of cool things I'm going to try, and I always say I like to, um, to try new things and share different things that I haven't seen yet. At least I haven't seen yet on YouTube. Like I said, I've only been really seriously gardening, at my own house for a few years now. So I see stuff, and there's new stuff coming out every day. So it's hard to really know, but that is one of my objectives on my channel. So there you have it. Thanks so much for tuning in. Any more comments there? Thank you, Equestrian Groomer, if you're still there. Doesn't tell me who exactly is there, but I hope you're subscribed. Please keep in touch. Let me know what you'd like to see in any upcoming video episodes. And yeah, happy gardening. Take care, guys. Oh, and you'll see the progress of these, obviously, of course, in my upcoming episodes of all these. Hopefully, yeah, you'll see how they turn out, and I'll let you know which varieties exactly. And thank you, Equestrian Groomer. Which varieties exactly, and yeah, if you have any questions on, like, well, you know what zone I'm in, which is important to know, and until I bring them outside, the amount of sun that they're getting is not really relevant. It's mostly, I told you the mix of soil I'm using. I showed you the seeds I'm using, and pretty much how I planted them all. So yeah, not much more. I think that you need to know to monitor the progress with me in my upcoming episodes. But if there's anything else, I'll definitely update and include that information in my next episode. Thanks again. Happy gardening.